Disney owned a World War II ship and the largest wooden airplane in the world? What? Man, look, if you don't know about that, it's all good. We in Long Beach. What's behind me? You see the Queen Mary. Story time, let's get it. I'm about to tell you everything and all there is to know about the time when Disney owned the Queen Mary. By the way, shout out to the good people over at Who's It's and What's It's. They got me this new hat, you know, thanks to them. One of my new favorite hats, so check them out. Be sure to check them out. Their website will be down in the description. I believe it's who'sitsandwhatsits.com. But Dumbfire, Mad Hatter Cat, you see right here, Mad Hatter's little card. I put the flower on myself though, that doesn't come with it, but yeah, shout out to them. Check their website out. Story time, let's go. Queen Mary, the one and only, massive shit. To clarify, this is a ship, not a boat. Multiple boats can fit onto a ship. She is not a cruise ship either. She's an ocean liner. She was a luxurious ocean liner at that. Not your average, slicker than your average. R.I.P. Biggie. Woo! Built in the 1930s, the Queen Mary was a transatlantic ocean liner. It carried about 2.2 million people throughout its whole career as a passenger ship. It carried tons of celebrities and Hollywood stars, royalty alike. It even carried Walt Disney himself. The man, the myth, the legend, Walt Disney rode on this ship. And Disney's the reason we're here, of course. It had luxurious fittings, beautiful art decor, the most exquisite furniture, and the best super duper soft cushioned made out of the cotton from across the world, from Peru, from camels' bottoms, for you to sit your bottom, aka your derriere, on this art piece of furniture. However, the Queen Mary's life as a passenger ship didn't last very long. When World War II started, it was put into service as a troop transport ship. Therefore, it was the same thing, an ocean liner, but it was used to carry militant members for the war. So when the Second World War started, it was stripped of all of its luxurious components and was painted a nice gray camouflage color. Camouflage. It was painted a nice gray. It was painted a nice gray camouflage color, and that's why it got the name the Gray Ghost. It's not because it's haunted. Fun fact, the Queen Mary is considered to be one of the most haunted ships in the world. I don't know about places, but ships for sure in the world. But because of that great I cannot say the word camouflage. But because of that great camouflage color that it was painted, it got the nickname the Gray Ghost. Ooh. After the war ended, she got a 10-month makeover. Took 10 whole months to get the ship back to its original glory. And they repainted it, got it back to this beautiful color scheme, got all her luxurious items back, and it returned to being a passenger ship. It continued its duty as a passenger ocean liner until December 9th, 1967. By that time, air travel had exploded. It was becoming very popular, way more than riding on a ship over the ocean. People would rather fly through the air because planes and jet travel was a new thing. So therefore, the decision was made to dock the Queen Mary here at Long Beach, and she's been sitting here ever since. 1967, that's a long time to be in one place. You know what I mean? Me personally, I gotta move around a little bit. Fast forward to 1988, Jack Rather, the owner of his own company, the Rather Corporation, had passed away. He was a good friend of Walt Disney. Coincidentally, the Rather Corporation owned the Disneyland Hotel, so when he passed away, Disney hopped on that thing, bought the Rather Corporation so they can acquire the ownership of the Disneyland Hotel. But As an agreement to the lease, they also had to acquire ownership of the Queen Mary and the Spruce Goose plane. The Rather Corporation owned the Queen Mary and the Spruce Goose as well, therefore Disney owned them now. The Spruce Goose plane was not a regular plane. I can't even speak. The Spruce Goose plane was not a regular plane at all. It was the world's largest plane at the time, the world's largest aircraft. It was also made to serve as a World War II passenger plane, so it was huge, it was fast, and on top of all that, besides being the world's largest plane at the time, it was made entirely out of wood. The entire infrastructure, the framework, was made from wood. Hint where it got the name Spruce Goose. Spruce is a tree.
Woohoo! Big summer blowout?
It was made out of spruce wood as well as some other woods, but it was made out of spruce wood, therefore Spruce Goose. But that's crazy. Is that not crazy? Plane made out of wood? Bruh, I'm not flying on it. Bruh. Disney used the Queen Mary as well as the Spruce Goose as additional attractions in conjunction with Disneyland. So if you were to buy a Disneyland ticket at this time, you'd also get free admission to visit the Queen Mary and the Spruce Goose plane. But the thing was, it wasn't just a regular visit. Disney, they go big, they go harder, they go home. So they put on a year-long celebration called the Voyage to 1939. And that's where this jacket comes into play. This very jacket is from that event thrown by Disney on the Queen Mary during the year 1990. I'm pretty sure this was an event exclusive item. So the only way you can acquire this jacket was to actually go to the event at the Queen Mary during the year 1990. It was a limited item due to the event being a temporary thing. So once the event was done, all the merchandise was no more. This is a pretty rare jacket. If you are into vintage like I am, especially Disney vintage, then you know things like this don't pop up often. I've yet to see any other item from the event besides a pin. I haven't seen any actual piece of clothing from this event. So if anybody knows of anything else, let your boy know, because I'm interested in getting more. As you see, it has cracking and some wear and tear, but me personally, I like the cracking. It gives it that vintage feel. Therefore, you know it's old. You know it's from a certain time period that was way before I was born. So it's really cool the fact that this jacket is still in great condition. I love it, and that's what inspired me to make this video, honestly. I just love this story. I love the history about this event, and that it's such a one-off type of thing. There's not many things you hear about where Disney owns things that aren't so Disneyfied, you know? Back in the day, they do stuff like this. I feel like today, they wouldn't really attempt to do anything of this nature. So it's really cool that I own something, a piece of history from this actual time in unusual Disney history. So boom. Anyways, let's get back into the event. Let me tell you all about it. Let's talk more about this event and this grand celebration that Disney put on called the Voyage to 1939. Voyage to 1939 was a celebration put on by Disney at this location where the Queen Mary sits in Long Beach. The point of it was to reincarnate and revive the exact period in time. The point of it was to reincarnate and revive the exact period in time in which the last Queen Mary trip set sail. So to do so, Disney had all types of things, all types of attractions, all types of events inside of this one bigger attraction. They had cast members dressed up in costumes as well as assuming personas from the year 1939. They also had a club. You know where I'm going with this. If you know Disney and clubs, they had a club called Club 39. Now, the purpose of Club 39 was just to glorify and just to revive the nightclub life of the late 1930s. So they brought that nightclub life back with Club 39, just like Club 33, but probably not as expensive or exclusive or everything and all the above, because Club 33 is like the most difficult thing in the world to get into, and I have yet to get into it, and I just want to do it. A car show was held where they had beautiful women dressed in time period specific swimwear. They would sit in front of the cars like, ooh, ooh, just to make the cars look good, because the cars were actually auctioned off to the public. They were time-specific cars. They were classy and fancy and nice, so that's really cool. They had a car show as well. They also recreated an English carnival. So they had carnival games that you would see, you know, the usual fare in England, and they also had English drink and English food. Aboard the Queen Mary, its staterooms were once more used as hotel rooms, and the famous London department store Harrods opened its first American location right here on the ship. Prince Michael, the grandson of the actual Queen Mary in which they named the ship after, he even dedicated the new store in person. Both cast members and guests were given special event-specific name tags to wear while aboard the ship. From the sound of it, it was a super cool event. Although the voyage to 1939 was a hit, the overall lease on the Queen Mary and the Spruce Goose was not. Disneyland guests weren't taking advantage of the free admission they had to this amazing ship, mainly because Disneyland's in Anaheim, Orange County. Queen Mary's all the way in Long Beach, so after spending all that Disney money, most guests didn't want to bother making the trip over here to Long Beach to see the ship, so therefore, over time, Disney was operating the ship at a financial loss. So once they got the chance to get out of the lease, that's exactly what they did. Disney ended the lease. Queen Mary came back into the hands of the city of Long Beach. It's been sitting here ever since. Not as a Disney attraction, but still a great one at that. And there you have it, that time that Disney owned a World War II ship. I'm out. Peace. Queen Mary was a transatlantic ocean liner. It carried a bunch of people across the Atlantic Ocean. It was the grandest transatlantic ocean liner in the world. The grandest ocean liner, not just transatlantic. It was the grandest, I should redo that. So when the second World War started, that was its last ship sail.